First of all, let me state on record that the SALNs discussed were not attached in the original complaints. Hindi po sila kasama sa original complaints. And using the SALNs as a starting point without necessary predicate evidence supports the position that the investigation of the House of Representatives Committee on Justice is a fishing expedition. Regarding the Ombudsman, the independence of the Ombudsman may be put to question before this body. The House of Representatives Committee on Justice summons the Ombudsman before the members of Congress and the public to present the statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth of the Vice President. While the Ombudsman has an ongoing investigation before his office, the Ombudsman is mandated to have the primary duty to conduct investigations over the misconduct of public officers.
Madam Chair.
EYKT.Inc. And number 6, Zelta Matiem Salon. Number 7, 3 Kids Inc. Kinukumpirma nyo ba ito?
Based on the 2011 SALN submitted by the Vice President, Your Honor, the following were the declared business interests and financial connections. Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, City Hall King Chow Foods Corporation, SGT Fortune Horse Corporation, CYKT Incorporated, and Celta Matiem Salon.
Salamat po. Sa taong 2016, based naman ho sa SALN ni VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Mans Carpio, ay mayroong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na negosyo. Number 1, Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. Number 2, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation. 3, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 4, Times Square B Foods Corporation. 5, SGT Fortune House Corporation. 6, CYKT Inc. 7, 3 Kids Inc. Tracking Services Inc. And number 8, Zelta Matiem Salon. Tama po ba?
Your Honor, I'm reading from the 2016 submitted SALN of the Vice President, and the declared business interest and financial connection for that year were the following: Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation, Times Square B Foods Corporation, SGT Fortune Horse Corporation, CYKT Inc., 3 Kids Inc. Tracking Services, and Celta Matiem Salon.
Salamat po. And base naman po sa SALN ng taong 2017, si VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Mans Carpio ay mayroon din hong business interest and financial connections sa mga sumusunod na kumpanya. 1, Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 2, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation. 3, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 4, Times Square B Foods Corporation. 5, CYKT Inc. And 6, Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines Inc. Tama po ba?
Your Honor, again, I'm reading from the 2017 SALN submitted by the Vice President. Ito po yung kanyang mga declared business interests and financial connections. Davao New Royal Taipan Corp., Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, Metro City Chow Foods Corp., Times Square B Foods Corp., CYKT Inc., Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines Inc.
Maraming salamat po. Based naman po sa SALN ng taong 2018, si VP Duterte ay mayroong business interest and financial connection sa mga negosyong sumusunod na mga kumpanya. 1, Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation, 3, Times Square B Foods Corporation, and 4, Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc. Kinukumpirma niyo po ba ito?
Your Honor, base po dito sa sinumiting SALN ng ating Vice Presidente noong 2018, ang kanyang mga diniklarang business interest and financial connection ay ang Davao New Royal Taipan Corp., Metro City Chow Foods Corp., Times Square B Foods Corp., Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc.
Salamat po. Based naman po sa SALN ng taong 2019, si VP Duterte ay mayroong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na kumpanya. 1. Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 2. Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 3. Times Square B Foods Corporation. And 4. Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc. Ito po ba ay kinukumpirma ninyo?
Your Honor, based on the 2019 submitted SALN of the Vice President, here are the business interests and financial connections declared for that year. Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation, Times Square B Foods Corporation, Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc.
Salamat po. Punta naman po tayo sa taong 2020. Si VP Duterte ay mayroong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na kumpanya. 1. Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 2. Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 3. Times Square B Foods Corporation. And 4. Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc.
Your Honor, based on the 2020 submitted SALN of the Vice President, the following are the declared business interests and financial connections. Davao New Royal Taipan Corp., Metro City Chow Foods Corp., Times Square Beef Foods Corp., Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc.
Dito naman po tayo sa SALN niya sa taong 2021. Si VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Mans Carpio ay mayroon pong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na mga kumpanya. 1. Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 2. Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 3. Times Square B Foods Corporation. 4. Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc. 5. Carpio Duterte Lawyers. 6. Kale 88 Foods Corporation. 7. 888 Bistro. And number 8, Mandayao Fisheries, Inc.
May we just request for a confirmation? No need to read again.
Okay.
Your Honor, we can confirm from the submitted SALN of the Vice President for the 2021 that those mentioned by the Honorable Congresswoman were the declared business interests and financial connections for the 2021.
Okay, salamat po. Bali, 8 ho yun, ano? Based naman po sa SALN ni VP Duterte nung taong 2022, at ng kanyang asawa na si Attorney Mans Carpio ay mayroon din pong business interest and financial connections silang mag-asawa sa mga sumusunod na kumpanya. 1. Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 2. Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 3. Times Square B Foods Corporation. 4. Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc. 5. Carpio Duterte Lawyers. 6. Kale 88 Foods Corporation. 7. 888 Bistro. And number 8, Mandayao Fisheries, Inc. Bali, 8 po.
Your Honor, based on the 2022 SALN of the Vice President, we can confirm that those you mentioned were those business interests and financial connection declared therein.
Salamat po. Sa taong 2023, sa SALN ni VP Duterte at ng kanyang asawang si Attorney Mans Carpio, may nakadeclare po ng mga business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na mga negosyo. 1. Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 2. Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 3. Times Square Bee Foods Corporation. 4. Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc. 5. Carpio Duterte Lawyers. 6. 888 Bistro. 7. Kale 88 Foods Corporation. Number 8. Madayao Fisheries, Inc. Number 9. Mati City Ice Plant and Cold Storage, Inc. Number 10. Amyanan Shores, Inc. And 11. Geometry Security and Investigation Agency, Inc.
Your Honor, again, basing on the 2023 submitted SALN of the Vice President, we can confirm that those you mentioned were the business interests and financial connections declared therein.
Salamat po. Ngayon pong sa taon pong 2024, ang SALN ni VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Manasseh Carpio ay mayroon din pong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod po na kumpanya. 1. Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 2. GenCorp Industries, Inc. 3. Carpio Lawyers. 4. 888 Bistro. 5. Kale 88 Foods Corporation. 6. Madayao Fisheries Corporation. 7. Mati City Ice Plant and Cold Storage, Inc. 8. Amyanan Shores, Inc. 9. Geometry Security and Investigation Agency, Inc. And 10. Cable Tow 88 Shipping and Marine Services, Inc. Kinukupirma niyo po ba ito?
Your Honor, reading from the 2024 submitted SALN of the Vice President, we can confirm that those 10 business interests and financial connections that you have read were declared by the Vice President in her 2024 SALN.
Salamat po. So, tama po ba na base sa mga SALN ni VP Duterte at ni Attorney Mans Carpio ay kada taon ang mga business interest nila ay dumadami?
We cannot make any conclusion on the basta kung ano lang po yung binasa ninyo, we can confirm na yun po yung nakalagay sa SALN nila, Your Honor.
We know
Yes.
the answer of Attorney Bato.
Okay. Madam Chair, manifestation.
Yes, you may proceed.
Sana po ay merong maipakita sana sa atin kung ano ang importansya o reason ng pagdami ng mga interest sa mga negosyo ng mag-asawang Duterte Carpio. Like paglaki ng kanilang income, net worth at halaga ng kanilang yaman. Anyway, that's all, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Barbers. Any other Justice member who wish to raise questions to the Office of the Ombudsman?
Madam Chair, manifestation.
The Honorable De Lima is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Observations on what I hear, on what I saw on the screen, and the presentation of those SALNs from 2006 to 2024, the latest in the possession of the Ombudsman. Latest po yung 2024,
Yes, Your Honor.
so wala pa po yung 2025.
We have not received the submission of the 2025
For
SALN of the Vice
2025. So the
President.
latest is 2024.
Yes, Your
Tatlong
Honor.
obserbasyon po. Yung kanina, yung tungkol nga po, yung pag sa questioning po ni Honorable Joel Chua, yung kapansin-pansin na mula 2019 to 2024, the respondent...
Honorable De Lima, kindly speak closer to the microphone. And may I share as well the matrix prepared by the Secretariat with respect to the information gathered from the SALNs of the respondent. Kindly flash the matrix of the SALN of VP Duterte. This may help Honorable De Lima in her clarificatory questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So can we see it, please? The matrix on the first point of observation that I'm making. Yung tungkol po doon sa wala na pong naipakita o wala na pong naideclare o report na cash in bank or cash on hand from 2019 to 2024. Pero nung mga una ay meron mga rini-report na mga cash on hand or cash in bank. So, mali ho atang matrix yung nakalagay dyan. Yung dapat po makita natin, yung matrix na pinapakita na wala na nga ng mga rineport na cash on hand from 2019. Yes, it's there ho pala. So from 2019 to 2024, wala na pong cash on hand or cash in bank. Para sa akin po, ang biglaan at tuloy-tuloy na pagkawala ng deklarasyon ng liquid assets, because cash on hand and cash in bank are liquid assets. Sa kabila ng dati meron naman na mga halaga ng mga cash on hand, cash in bank ay nagdudulot ng pagdududa sa kawastuhan at kabuuan ng subsequent SALNs ni VP Sara. Second point of observation, Madam Chair, tungkol naman po sa liabilities. Nakita rin po natin na as to liabilities, VP Sara declared 6,954,454 in 2016. Nandyan ho ba yan? Yung liabilities, 2016, 6,954,454. At sa 2017 naman, liabilities of 6,313,188 in 2017 and 6,119,113 in 2018. At sa 2019 naman po ay 3,460,790 and 2,490,105.90 in 2020. Kapansin-pansin po na mula 2021, tanging ang kanyang asawa na si Maneses Carpio. Nagre-reflect ho ba yan dyan? Na tanging yung kanyang asawa na si Meneses Carpio ang may dineklarang mga liabilities at wala nang iniulat na utang o liability ni VP. Mako-confirm ho ba yan?
Your Honor, I'm reading from the 2021 SALN submitted by the Vice President, and it is stated there that the liabilities was a personal loan from various creditors po by Attorney Manasseh Carpio.
Yes. How about on the part of VP Sara herself? Meron pa ho ba na mga rineport na liabilities in 2016, 20, beginning in 2021? Meron ho ba rineport na liabilities?
Let me check, Your Honor, with regard to the 2022 SALN of the Vice President. Based on the submitted 2022 SALN of the Vice President, the liabilities stated or declared therein was a personal loan of Manasseh Carpio. That's all, Your Honor, for the 2020.
Maneses Carpio. How about 2022? So no VP, no Sara Duterte.
For the 2023 SALN, Your Honor, based on the submitted SALN by the Vice President, the liabilities declared therein was a personal loan of Manasseh Carpio, Your Honor.
Again, of Maneses Carpio and not Sara Duterte. 2024, please.
For the 2024 SALN, Your Honor, reading from the submission of the Vice President, the liabilities were declared to be loans of Manasseh Carpio only, Your Honor, from various
Again,
creditors and
only
banks.
Maneses Carpio and not Sara Duterte. Observation with respect to this, for the record, Madam Chair, ang ganitong biglang pagbabago sa paraan ng pag-uulat ng liabilities ay lubhang kahinahinala at nararapat siya sa atin, as it may indicate reclassification.
Louder, Honorable De Lima, please.
Ang ganito pong pagbabago sa paraan ng pag-uulat ng liabilities ay lubhang kahinahinala at nararapat siyasatin as it may indicate reclassification or possible circumvention of full disclosure requirements. One last point of observation, pagdating naman po sa net worth. So pinakita po kanina, we can again show po the matrix. We can
Please flash the matrix.
The respondents declared net worth increased from 34,895,997 in 2016 to 71,658,841 in 2022, the year she assumed the office of Vice President. Sa loob lamang ng 2 taon, ito ay lalo pang umakyat sa 88,512,370.22 noong 2024. Obserbasyon po, ang ganitong mabilis at medyo malaking pagtaas ng yaman with the absence of declared liquid assets and the diminution or transfer of liabilities ay nagbubunsod ng seryoso ring pagdududa hinggil sa veracity, transparency, and integrity of the Vice President's financial disclosures. So those are my observations with respect to the SALENS. Maraming salamat po.
The observations of the Honorable De Lima are noted by the committee.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Keith Flores.
Madam Chair, I just have a few questions for the Ombudsman. Madam Chair, every government employee is required to fill up a SALN, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in that SALN, di ba, may sa bottom yan is may waiver. No? Every government employee in filling up a SALN also executes a waiver. Tama po ba?
Can we show the last page of the SALN just for reference to the question of the Honorable Flores? Please flash last page of SALN. Attorney Batu?
Your Honor, I'm reading the 2024 SALN, the last page of which reads, I hereby certify that these are true and correct statements of my assets, liabilities, net worth, business interests, and financial connections, including those of my spouse and unmarried children below 18 years of age living in my household, and that to the best of my knowledge, the above enumerated are names of my relatives in the government within the 4th civil degree of consanguinity or affinity. I hereby authorize the Ombudsman or his/her duly authorized representative to obtain and secure from all appropriate government agencies, including the Bureau of Internal Revenue, such documents that may show my assets, liabilities, net worth, business interests, and financial connections, to include those of my spouse and unmarried children below 18 years of age living with me in my household, covering previous years to include the year I first assumed office in government.
So yan nga. But that applies to all, di ba? All government employees.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sa standard siya in all SALNs na
Yes.
sinasubmit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, yung second paragraph kasi it says na it authorizes the Ombudsman to conduct an investigation or something like that, no? Tama ba? Or to look into. To gather documents also. Yung second paragraph pa.
Based on this second paragraph, Your Honor, the Ombudsman can look into the or can secure from other government agencies yung mga documents
Yes.
pertaining to the SALNs.
And based on that, parang paragraph, in fact, it does not even require a complaint to be filed for the Ombudsman to look into these things.
Yes, Your Honor, because it's included in our functions that we can conduct a motu proprio investigation.
Who's with you, Attorney Bato?
I'm with Assistant Ombudsman Armando Sanchez Jr., Your Honor.
Sir, would you be in a better position to answer the questions? Kasi I noticed that our title is parang central records ata yung si Atty.
Assistant Ombudsman Sanchez is recognized.
Good morning, Your Honors. Yes, sir. We confirm that we can conduct motu proprio investigation.
Based on that portion of the SALN.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, now, in this particular case, sir, was there an investigation ever conducted on the part of the Vice President?
Your Honor, please, with all due respect, we are not, we have no knowledge or idea if there is ongoing investigations against the PP.
Ongoing or previously wala
Yes,
talaga?
Your Honor,
Kasi there
please.
were reports before, di ba? I've read in the newspaper a long time ago na may investigation na kinonduct. That's not true. You're not confirming it.
Honorable Flores is reminded to confine the questions to what appears in the SALN,
I
subject
see.
matter of the subpoena.
It's just related to the waiver, madam. Anyway, I'll withdraw that question. No? So ano na lang na sa waiver na yan, you just answered na wala kang alam na investigation being made by the Ombudsman as of now.
Your Honor, as far as I'm concerned, I have no idea or knowledge regarding any investigation, Your Honor.
So are you speaking on your personal capacity as an Ombudsman or for the Ombudsman as an office?
Your Honor, as Assistant Ombudsman, assisting the records officer of the Office of the Ombudsman, Your Honor.
So not as for in behalf of the entire office of the Ombudsman.
Yes, Your Honor.
Meaning somebody else might have knowledge or information about it, but not you.
I confirm, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's all, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Just for the record, the last question of the Honorable Flores springs from the waiver that appears at the last page of the SALN, whether or not, as a consequence of the waiver, there is any past or current investigation being conducted by the Office of the Ombudsman. That's for the record. Any other member who wish to? Honorable Marcoleta, please understand that you are
Madam
not a
Chair.
member of the Justice Committee. You're allowed to manifest, but you cannot raise clarificatory questions to the
Yes, ma'am,
resource
but
persons.
I'm about to
You may proceed.
raise a manifestation, ma'am, about the SALN, ma'am. First of all, let me state on record that the SALNs discussed were not attached in the original complaints. Hindi po sila kasama sa original complaints. And using the SALNs as a starting point without necessary predicate evidence supports the position that the investigation of the House of Representatives Committee on Justice is a fishing expedition. And if I may add, Madam Chair, on the SALN issue, the complaint asks this committee to obtain bank records, SALNs, coordinate with the AMLC, and forensic accounting. If so, it is an acknowledgement that the complaint is still seeking the very facts it needs to conclusively prove its SALN theory. Ma'am, malaki po kasi yung pinagkaiba ng isang complaint that already alleges ultimate facts supported by evidence, and a complaint that substantially requests this committee to authorize this committee to investigate, and perhaps we will later find the proof. And if I also raise this observation, Madam, regarding the Ombudsman, the independence of the Ombudsman may be put to question before this body. The House of Representatives Committee on Justice summons the Ombudsman before the members of Congress and the public to present the statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth of the Vice President. While the Ombudsman has an ongoing investigation before his office, the Ombudsman is mandated to have the primary duty to conduct investigations over the misconduct of public officers.
Madam Chair, point of order.
There's a point of order, Honorable Marcoleta.
Just would like to
Honorable
clarify.
Bishop Abante.
I would like to clarify to ask Congressman Marcoleta. Sinabi niya kanina hindi kasama yung SALN sa original complaint.
Yes, he mentioned that.
Oh, I'd like to clarify. Paano niya nasabi yun? Kasama eh. Ito, Babasahin ko. Vice President Sara Duterte committed culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayed the public trust in amassing unexplained wealth and failing to disclose all her properties and interests in properties in her SALN. Nagalagay po sa complaint eh. Anong sinasabi niya na hindi kasama sa original complaint? I'd like to find out from him.
Honorable
Ang hirap
Marcoleta.
noon kung, Chair, salita siya ng salita dito. Kinakailangan maging sure tayo na hindi nabanggit.
And if I may add, for the guidance of the honorable members and in response to the manifestation of the Honorable Marcoleta, I will be reading the specific paragraph where matters concerning SALN was mentioned in the complaint. With regards to Sabale complaint, there are allegations in paragraph 107, 108, 109, and paragraphs 285 to 290. And for Cabrera complaint, may we refer the Honorable Marcoleta as well to paragraph 20.3, paragraph 76, paragraph 77, paragraph 232, paragraph 233, 234, 235, 236, 237, 238, 239, 240, 241, 242, and even from paragraphs 244 to 246. For the information of the Honorable Marcoleta,
Yes, ma'am.
mentioned
Binanggit po ang-
paragraphs contained allegations which are relevant to the SALNs of the respondent.
Yes, ma'am. It was mentioned, I think, very adequately, the word SALNs, but they were never attached to the original complaints. Parang this complaint is just merely requesting the committee to produce evidence. Ibig sabihin, wala pang ebidensya, nakikiusap sa committee na ito para mag-produce ng ebidensya na hindi nakakabit sa original complaints. Yun lang po ang sinasabi ko, ma'am.
In other words, you admit that there were a lot of times that SALNs were mentioned in the impeachment complaint. However,
They were never
not
attached.
attached in the
Opo.
impeachment
Wala pa
complaint.
pong ebidensyang nakalakip doon po sa complaint. At ngayon pa lang po natin binubuksan dahil ito po ay kumbaga request ng complainant.
Please understand as well that the compulsory process that was granted to the Justice Committee is for the purpose of testing the sufficiency of the allegations in the complaint, whether the same constitute probable cause, which is the mandate of this proceeding.
Correct.
So, with all due respect, Honorable Marcoleta, it is our humble position that all the actions of this committee, including the issuance of subpoena of all these questioned SALNs by Your Honor, is in accordance with the rules of impeachment, the Constitution, and even with the decisions of the Honorable Supreme Court.
Ma'am, the court will be the better judge of that.
And that is why you should elevate that before the Honorable Court.
Maybe not me, but some other parties. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other member who wish to raise clarificatory questions to the Ombudsman? Hearing none, may we direct the committee secretary to call the Vice President
Madam
in
Chair,
order
just,
to extend to her
Madam Chair,
the opportunity to present evidence, including those which will counter the testimony provided already and the documents provided already by the Office of the Ombudsman.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Garbin is recognized.
Thank you, Madam. Just a few questions to the representatives of the Ombudsman. Kayo ho'y nagpresenta ng SALN, and what was presented by your office are those SALNs under your custody and the entries, the official entries in those SALN. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
But that entries does not say whether there is a misdeclaration, untruthful declaration, or willful non-disclosure that will lead to unexplained wealth. Tama po ba?
Your Honor, binasa ko lang po kung ano yung, at kinonfirm ko lang po kung ano yung nakalagay sa SALN.
Honorable Garbin, I'm afraid, but we are not allowed to raise questions which will go beyond what appears in the SALN.
That's why, Madam Chair, I just need confirmation whether that
Yes.
presentation
Issues concerning
yields to the
misdeclaration.
yields in support to the complainants. First of all, Madam Chair, wala yung complainant dito eh.
I understand, but please limit your questions to
And that's why I
the
want to ask
contents of the
sana yung
affidavit.
complainant
Contents of the
as
SALN.
to his allegation because it was pointed out that the SALN was only part of a broader allegations of unexplained wealth. But as correctly pointed out by Mr. Marcoleta or Congressman Marcoleta, those SALN that was or that we want to specifically pinpoint that have material misdeclaration or untruthful declaration was never attached in the first place
We are
in the
not
complaint.
yet on that, Honorable Garbin.
We
are
were
only on the existence of the SALNs.
We were already through on that. We already approved, voted on the ultimate facts and the sufficiency in substance. And the annexes provided in the complaint, Madam Chair. So what we have here is an improvement of the complaint, of the complainant's evidence. Tayo yung nagpuproduce ng ebidensya eh, which is not supposed to be the case.
With all due respect, Honorable Garbin, the issuance of the subpoena is not for the purpose of adding, supplementing, or correcting whatever appears in the complaint. The purpose of the issuance of subpoena is to test whether the complaint is sufficient already for the existence of probable cause. To aid the justice members in judging whether or not probable cause exists on the basis of the allegations in the complaint, including the attached documents.
If I may, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Chua.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, let me walk you through Section 7 of our Rules of Procedure in Impeachment Proceedings. Sabi po dito, the committee shall conduct a hearing. The committee, through the chairperson, may limit the period of examination by members of the committee. The committee shall have the power to issue compulsory processes for the attendance of witnesses and the production of documents and other related evidence. So, yun po yung ginagawa po natin dito. This SALN, ito pong SALN na to ay pumapasok po dito po sa power ng committee. Hindi naman po tayo ang nagsasabi niyan. Ang nagsasabi po niyan ay ang ating rules. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Before we proceed,
Madam
I just
Chair.
want to state for the record, Honorable De Lima,
Thank you.
that the committee is already in receipt of the notices of disallowance referred to by Attorney Camora of ICFAO COA during the April 14 hearing. This pertains to the disallowances of the first 3 quarters of the OVP Confidential Fund of 2023, the first, the second, and the third. The total amount of these notices of disallowances is 375,000 million. 375 million pesos. So the COMSEC is directed to provide copy of this notices of disallowance to the Vice President, the complainant, and all the members of the Justice Committee. The same is true with respect to the decision referred to as well by Attorney Camora of ICFAO COA. This is to prove that the appeal pertaining to the last quarter of 2022 confidential fund of OVP has been denied, which means that the notice of disallowance for the last quarter of 2022 was affirmed by the Commission on Audit. Likewise, the committee secretariat is directed to provide copy of the same to the Vice President, the complainants, and all the justice members. Honorable De Lima is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wish to put forth additional counter-arguments on the points raised by the Honorable Marcoleta and also certain points raised by the Honorable Garbin. Okay, first, we have determined already sufficiency in substance of the complaints. Sufficiency in substance, both in form and substance, and that includes the annexes. Pangalawa po, hindi po required na lahat ng mga pwedeng ebidensya ay dapat na produce na ng complainants at the time of the filing of the complaint. And that's why we have these processes of subpoena para makalakap ng mga ebidensya na nakasabi sa complaint tsaka yung mga related evidence. Ang importante po dito, especially in the issuance of subpoena, yung requirements of specificity or sufficiently described yung mga dokumento na pinapaproduce at yung relevance to the issue. Wala pong duda dun sa mga subpoena po natin ng for the production of specific documents like respondent SAL-Ns, the AMLAC records of the flagged bank transactions of the respondent, the records of her corporate holdings, records of her financial transactions. These are all relevant to the grounds alleged in the complaint. They directly relate to the issues actually and specifically raised in the third and fourth impeachment complaints, the Sabalia et al. And Cabrera complaints, particularly that respondent purportedly engaged in culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption, bribery, including the accumulation of unexplained and or ill-gotten wealth, and her ownership of secret bank accounts worth millions, if not billions of pesos, all of which she did not declare in her SAL-Ns. Doon sa punto na ini-improve daw po natin, actually, there's nothing wrong about that, improving the evidence that are sought to be presented by the complainants. Kasi tayo nga po ang magiging prosecutors later, and we are determining at this point the existence of probable cause, and therefore we need the guidance of any other relevant evidence para makarating po sa determinasyon na yan ng existence of probable cause. We develop, we improve, we ask for other additional evidence as long as they are relevant to the issue or issues as alleged in the complaints. So wala pong mga linalabag dito na mga principles pagdating po sa tungkol doon sa kailangan ba na linalagay lahat o pinipresenta na lahat sa complaint pa lang. So malinaw po yan, Madam Chair, hindi po kailangan. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Chel Jokno is recognized.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Wala naman pong pinagkaiba ang ginagawa ng Committee on Justice dun sa ginagawa ng isang prosecutor na nagko-conduct ng preliminary investigation. Just like a prosecutor under the rules of the House, we have the power to issue subpoena to determine what used to be called probable cause, although what is now called certainty of conviction. And para sa akin, mas mahalaga pa nga yung tungkulin natin na yon dahil wala pa naman po tayo sa adversarial stage. We are very clearly in the inquisitorial stage where we are meant to inquire whether there is sufficient probable cause. Kaya po tayo binigyan ng ngipin ng House rules para makapagsabpina ay para nga makita ang ebidensya. And I'm very disappointed at any attempts to remove that power from us, because that is precisely why the Constitution requires that we conduct a hearing. Yung hearing naman natin, hindi para marinig natin yung salita ng iba't ibang mga nandito ngayon, kung hindi makita mismo yung ebidensya. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Madam
Chair.
The Honorable Garbin.
Madam Chair.
At the outset, Madam Chair, let me state that I am for the truth and for knowing whether there's material or misdeclaration on the SALN. What I'm saying here, the observance of procedural due process. Going back to the complaint, as stated, this specific SALN were not attached. And we say observance of procedural due process. Ang tinatawag po doon, paano makakapagsagot yung isang respondent kung wala naman specific allegations doon sa mga iprinisintang SALN?
Meron nga.
We agree that we have compulsory processes to produce those documents relevant to this hearing. But the absence of giving opportunity to the respondent the right to be heard or to answer, and those specific allegations, it's not even a specific allegation because it was part of a broader allegations of unexplained wealth. Ako po ay isang abogado bago mambabatas. Ako po ay dumaan din sa napakaraming preliminary investigation. And kung magpipresenta tayo dito ng dokumento na hindi natin bibigyan ng oportunidad yung inaakusahan dito, then where is the procedural due process? That's why I'm saying, are we
Honorable
improving
Garbin.
the complaint? Or
Honorable
it is
Garbin.
better left to the impeachment court to present all these documents so that the respondent will also have the right to confront those evidence presented against her
Notice is being given to her.
and the right also to examine those specific SALN that allege misdeclarations of unexplained wealth.
Honorable Garbin, I just want to state for the record that since the start of the presentation of witnesses and evidence, we've been sending notices to the Vice President, to the respondent, and as a matter of fact, even after every resource person, we are calling the Vice President to check if she is present so we can cater the opportunity to be heard that you are mentioning. Honorable Garbin, in as far as due process is concerned, I honestly believe that this committee has been amply complying in providing the same to the respondent Vice President. And let us all be reminded that this issue raised by the Honorable Garbin is already pending before the Supreme Court. So with the indulgence of the justice members, perhaps we should leave this to the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court. With that, can we proceed to the presentation of our resource persons?
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Tino.
may I ask some clarificatory questions regarding from the Ombudsman?
The Ombudsman.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Could we have the summary table of the SALN of the VP?
Can we
on
flash
the
again the
screen?
matrix? You need the matrix?
Opo.
Kindly flash the matrix, Secretariat.
All right, thank you po. Just to confirm lang po sa Ombudsman, napansin ko lang po kasi na yung declaration or statement of assets, both real assets and personal assets for the years 2019 and 2020 are exactly the same. Tama po ba yan? Hindi naman kaya baka nagkamali lang nung cut and paste. Is that correct?
2019 and 2020.
Yes, is that correct? 2019, the real assets are 300 39,798,891, and that is the exact same figure for 2020. Tama po ba? And then for personal assets, the figure is 19,274,950 for both 2019 and 2020. Tama po yun?
Your Honor, based on the 2019 and 2020 SALENs submitted by the Vice President to the Office of the Ombudsman, we can confirm that
Exactly the
the
same.
real assets and personal assets were the same for those 2 years.
Okay. And for the years 2021 to 2022, the personal assets are exactly the same, tama po ba? 20
Please show the matrix.
23,849,950 personal assets. Tama po na pareho. Sakto.
That is 2021 and 2022 personal assets.
Your Honor, reading from the 2021 and 2022 submitted SALENs of the Vice Presidents, we can confirm that for the personal properties declared therein, it's the same amount po.
Okay. Thank you. So, again, and of course, yung sa real assets in the years 2009 to 2011, pareho, no? And also for 2016 and to
2009 to 2011 real assets. Closer to the microphone, Kong Tinio.
Well, siguro, Madam Chair, thank you for the confirmation. So I just wanted to check whether tama yung matrix, no? So
Can we mark also 2009 to 2011 real assets? 10 million. Exactly the same as well. May we see confirmation from the OMB?
Give us a few seconds, Your Honor. Give us a few seconds, Your Honor.
Yes, please. 09, 10, and 11.
Your Honor, based on the 2009, 2010, and 2011 submitted SALENs of the Vice President, we can confirm that the declaration therein was stated as 10,802,668.65 for the 3 years.
That's
Okay.
the same, exactly the
Thank
same
you.
amount.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please flash the matrix, please. That's the 2009, 10, and 11 real assets. 10,802,668 pesos and 65 centavos. Exactly the same amount for 09, 10, and 11. Honorable Tino.
And for the sake of completeness, 2016, 2017 real assets, same.
2016 and 2017
Opo.
real assets. Matrix. So for the record, 2016 and 2017, based on the matrix, the amount is exactly the same. That's 30,548,891 pesos. May we request confirmation from the OMB?
Your Honor, basing from the 2016 and 2017 SALEN of the Vice President, the real properties declared therein is at 30,548,891 for the 2016 and 2017
So
year.
you confirm.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Honorable Tino?
Thank you for that. Just a few observations, Madam Chair.
Yes, you may proceed.
Opo. So I suppose for the real assets that can be explained, no, kasi mga lote ito. So perhaps from year to year hindi magbabago. As to the personal assets, I don't have a copy of all of the SALENs. Could the ombudsman maybe just name the the breakdown of the personal assets in particular that were declared by the Vice President? Kasi mas medyo gusto ko lang unawain bakit hindi nagbabago from year to year yung declaration of personal assets.
Your Honor, may I clarify kung anong year po ng SALN?
Okay. So for example, yung 2019 to 2020 and 2021 to 2022, pareho po kasi yung figures for personal assets for 2 years. So I'm just trying to further understand bakit hindi nagbago yon.
I don't think, Honorable Tino, that Attorney Bato is competent to answer your question.
No, as far as I know, there would be a breakdown of personal assets in the SALN, the entries.
Is there a breakdown? You can confine your answer to what appears in the SALN.
Your Honor, based on the SALN submitted by the Vice President, the personal properties were described therein. May description po.
So can you confirm if the personal properties enumerated in the two concerned calendar years are exactly the same? That's
Your-
20 and 21.
Yes. 1920 and 21 and 22.
Just to confirm, Your Honor, so we're speaking of the SALNs from 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Yes.
Kindly flash the matrix. The question of Honorable Tino is whether there are changes in the properties, personal assets of the respondent, which generated the total exact amount for 2019 and 20, and then for 2021 and 2022. Maybe 2019 and 20 first.
For the 2019 and 2020, Your Honor, based on the SALN submitted, we can confirm that the Vice President declared the same personal
Exactly the
properties.
same personal assets. How about
Could
21 and 22?
Could we ask what assets were declared?
If I'm allowed to read the personal properties.
Yes, you may proceed.
Of the Vice President declared in her 2019 and 2020 SALNs, these are the following: a vehicle van, vehicle declared as motorcycles, other personal properties, various items, other personal properties, various items, vehicle car, vehicle pickup, other personal properties.
Okay, and that's the same for both years.
Yes, Your Honor, we can confirm that it's the same for
Okay.
2019 and 2020.
Okay, so general po, mga various items, parang ganon. Okay,
Those were the items listed po dun sa kanyang SALN.
okay, thank you. Thank you. That will be all, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Perhaps we can proceed to directing the COMSEC to call the Vice President. COMSEC, please.
May we know if the Vice President is present today? The responded Vice President is not present today, Madam Chair.
Let it be placed on the record that the committee secretary called the Vice President in order that we will be providing her the opportunity to present her evidence or to raise clarificatory questions through the justice members. That is for the record. Now we proceed to our next resource person. We are requesting the representatives from the Ombudsman to stay because we anticipate that there are matters which might be raised as well with the Ombudsman. Our next resource person is the Anti-Money Laundering Council. The floor is now open for clarificatory questions of the Justice members.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Sendanya is recognized.
Madam Chair, may I make a short manifestation?
Yes, of
before the
course.
start of
You may
question
proceed.
hour? Thank you, Madam Chair. As the movement for the subpoena, both testificandum to the AMLAC, meron lang po akong isang maikling remarks. Higit isang dekada na pong naghihintay ang taong bayan na makita ang kabuang yaman ni VP Sara Duterte at ng kanyang pamilya. Kaya nga po noong nakaraang pulong tayo ay nag-move para maimbitahan ang AMLAC sa atin pong pulong ngayong araw na ito. Sa totoo lang, this should have never been kept a secret. A public servant's obligation sa konstitusyon at sa taong bayan ay maging bukas sa ating financial transactions and lifestyle. Kahapon po, personal ako na nag-deposit sa isa sa mga alleged bank accounts na nakapangalan kina VP Sara Duterte at ang kanyang ama na si former President Rodrigo Duterte. Taliwas po sa kanilang patuloy na pagtanggi, lumabas na active pa ang account. Nakapag-deposit po tayo ng 448 pesos doon sa isang account na ito. Ngayong impeachment, mas dumadami ang tanong na after we heard our resource persons, especially a resource person from the Ombudsman, very glaring po yung ilang taon na walang nakalagay na cash on hand at cash in bank ang Vice Presidente. Kung walang sikreto si VP Sara, sana nag-sign na siya dati pa ng waiver. Kung wala siyang kinakatakutan, edi sana nilapag na niya ang totoong laman ng bank account niya. Kung totoong kumakain lang sa karinderya ang tatay niya at government salary lang ang natatanggap nila, iniisip ko nga po, paano na i-encash yung cheque, yung sweldo niya, saan dumadaan? Kung wala siyang cash in bank at saka po wala siyang cash on hand. Pero that's for another conversation. Kung wala po silang tinatago, di sana wala silang kaba na haharap sa committee ito. Hindi tayo parang tumatawag ng spirit of the glass every time isasummon ang Vice President to refute the evidence. Sa pagpresenta po ng report ng AMLC, ang tanong po ng taong bayan, sana masagot na ang maraming matagal ng mga pressing questions. And I hope that the AMLC will be able to shed light on these very important issues. Dito po nakaraang mga sessions, may mga baon akong Mary Grace Piatos. Pero ngayon po ang baon natin, yung maraming tanong ng taong bayan at sana po masagot ito ng AMLAC. Salamat, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Sendanya.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair, Madam Chair,
Honorable Chel Jokno.
as a movement as well of the subpoena that was issued to the AMLA, may I just make a brief manifestation?
You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Para magampanan po natin yung ating tungkulin na malaman kung meron probable cause o hindi dito sa impeachment case na ito, mahalaga talaga na makita natin yung ebidensya. Kaya po natin hinimok ang Committee on Justice na maglabas ng subpoena dito sa Anti-Money Laundering Council. Ito po ay talagang hindi magiging imposible ang gawain natin ngayon kung hindi natin makita mismo galing sa AMLA kung ano yung hawak nilang records. Kaya this is, to me, one of the most crucial stages in our proceedings at the Committee on Justice. The evidence will speak for itself. Wala naman sa atin ang magsasalita, kundi mismo ang records ng AMLA. And through this procedure, the money trail will lead us to the truth. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Joboy Aquino is recognized.
I would like to direct my clarificatory questions to the representative of AMLA.
Attorney Buenaventura,
Is that Attorney Buenaventura?
the Executive Director of Anti-Money Laundering Council.
Okay. For the record, Attorney, the AMLA received a subpoena coming from this committee for the production of documents, records. Am I correct?
Yes, Madam Chair. We received a copy of the subpoena.
Okay. Did you bring the subpoenaed documents today?
Yes, we have it with us. is it possible for us to tender it, to transmit it now?
The committee secretariat is directed to approach Executive Director Buenaventura to receive the subpoenaed documents from the Anti-Money Laundering Council. The same will form part of the records of this proceeding. Honorable Joboy Aquino.
Madam Chair, may we ask that all the members be provided a copy of the report from...
The COMSEC is directed to reproduce the documents and provide the same to the respondent vice president, the complainant, and all the justice members.
Madam Chair, the same
Honorable
request,
Adjong.
the same request is asked of the committee secretariat to provide the SALNs as we have already requested earlier, Mr. Chair. We still haven't gotten the
As far as the
copy of
SALNs is concerned, I understand that we have directed the COMSEC already to provide the same to all the parties, including the justice members.
That is correct, Madam Chair. So we reiterate our request, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I continue?
You may
Madam Chair?
proceed, Honorable Joboy Aquino.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Attorney, I understand that you have a cover letter which describes the documents that you have submitted. For the record, please tell us about these documents.
Did you mention a cover letter? Do you confirm having submitted a cover letter among the documents?
Yes.
Yes. May we direct the COMSEC?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Please find this cover letter and flash this in the screen for the guidance of the justice members.
Attorney, can you please describe those
All right.
documents to us?
So we are submitting two sets of documents. Number one is the covered transaction reports and suspicious transaction reports from the years 2006 to 2025 as subpoenaed. And then the second set, which is Annex B, are the financial intelligence reports as well as investigation reports on Vice President Sara Duterte Carpio as well as her husband Manasseh Carpio as indicated in the subpoena.
Okay, Attorney, to be clear, did you only initiate these reports because of this impeachment?
No, Madam Chair, we have, and EMLC has always been in constant monitoring of all the transactions, and while we have generated a latest one, all the data have been as far as back as early years.
Okay, and kanino pong mga accounts ang mga nakasaan dito sa mga dokumento na dala ninyo?
Bali po, ito po ay mga accounts ni Vice President Sara Duterte sa kanyang individual or sole account. Kasama na rin po ang kanyang mga ka-joint account, kasama ang kanyang pamilya o ibang tao, o pati kanya ng asawa, at kasama na rin po ang account ng kanyang asawa na si Manasseh Carpio at ang kanyang mga ka-joint account na kapamilya niya o ibang tao man.
Salamat po. Pinakauli na lang pong tanong. Sa simpleng tanong lang po, no, Attorney, makikita po ba rito sa mga dokumentong dala nyo kung meron mga perang pumasok o lumalabas dito sa mga accounts na to?
Maaari po. Maaari makita dahil yung pong report na covered transaction at suspicious transactions ay may makikita po tayo doon na mga transaksyon na maaring palabas at papasok po.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Keith Flores.
Madam Chair, medyo...
Is this a point of order?
Yes, point of order, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'm concerned with where we are going right now. We will now be discussing from the statements of the AMLAC representative bank accounts. And I'm worried that the discussion might lead somewhere na pinagbabawal ng bank secrecy law. If that is the direction that the questions have been going and from the answers of the AMLAC, are we not, in effect, violating the bank secrecy law, Madam Chair?
For the guidance of the members, before I recognize the Honorable De Lima, the subject matter of the subpoena issued by the Justice Committee are not bank records. Instead, it is AMLC report uncovered in suspicious transactions. Likewise, the person who is subpoenaed are not bank officials and employees. The person who is subpoenaed is, of course, no less than the head of the Anti-Money Laundering Council. For the record, the coverage of bank secrecy law and for the guidance of the members are bank officials and employees and bank records. And the chair is of the opinion that the subject matter of our subpoena is apparently not covered by the protection of the bank secrecy law. The Honorable De Lima is recognized.
Before the Honorable De Lima answers, Madam Chair, I just want to, from your statements po, well, it is true na, yun nga, hindi nga banks ang sinupina natin, hindi din bank employees ang sinupina natin, but parang yung, from the answers kasi kanina, it would deal with certain bank accounts already, Madam Chair. So wouldn't that in effect be parang circumventing also the bank secrecy law?
We note the observation of the Honorable Keith Flores. Nonetheless, we are strictly compliant with the letters of the bank secrecy law. The Honorable De Lima is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tama po yung sinabi ng ating Chair na hindi po tayo sakop ng prohibition. Yes, meron ho tayong Secrecy of Bank Deposits Law na sinasabing sikreto, confidential, yung mga bank deposits, pero hindi po naman yan absolute rule na wala na siyang exception. Ang exception dyan, isa sa mga exception na yung cases of impeachment. Pero bago po ako to dwell on that, ay tungkol naman po dun sa sinasabing pwedeng may prohibition. Kasi nakalagay po sa Section 3 of the law itself.
Louder,
Republic
Honorable De Lima, louder.
Republic Act number 1405 or the Secrecy of Bank Deposits Law, it is explicit. It applies only to officials and employees of banking institutions. Nakasabi po sa Section 3, it shall be unlawful for any official or employee of a banking institution to disclose to any person other than those mentioned in Section 2 hereof any information concerning said deposits. So, ang pinasabina po, kagaya nung sinabi ng ating chair, ay yung AMLAC, AMLC, at hindi po bangko, at hindi po mismong bank accounts ang pinasabina natin. Ang pinasabina po natin ay yung record, if any, of suspicious or covered transactions. And let's note also na meron na rin tayo yung batas na Anti-Money Laundering Act or Republic Act number 9160. It further reinforces the position na wala tayong violation dito na nagaganap. It embodies the state's more recent and more specific policy that financial secrecy cannot be used to conceal unlawful activity. Sabi po sa batas na yan, Anti-Money Laundering Act, covered institutions, lalo na yung mga bangko, most notably the banks, are required to report suspicious transactions to the AMLC, and such reporting is expressly declared as not violative of the Bank Deposit Secrecy Law. Hindi po siya violative. So ang pinaproduce po natin based on the subpoena ay yung any record of suspicious or covered transactions affecting nga po si VP Sara. At nasabi po ng ating Executive Director ng AMLC na ang daladala niya ay precisely dalawang klase ng dokumento. Yung reports mismo on suspected or covered transactions sa mga accounts ni VP Sara, either singly, siya lang, o jointly. Meron siyang mga ka-joint account sa ibang tao, katulad ng kanyang asawa, katulad ng kanyang ama, katulad ng ibang miyembro pa ng kanyang pamilya. At ang pangalawa ay financial intel reports. at sakop po yan ng mandato. Kaya nga, rini-require yung pag-submit ng mga transactions na yan para i-report kung covered ang transactions at dinidetermine kung suspicious, kung may mga red flags yung mga transactions na yan na pwede makapagsabi na meron ditong gumagamit ng pera sa illegal o kaya sa money laundering. So I submit, Madam Chair, and going back, by the way, to I almost forgot, yung exception po yung cases of impeachment dyan sa Bank Secrecy Deposit Law. Cases of impeachment. So sakop po tayo dito. Kasi remember, the impeachment proceedings have been initiated already by the acts of the filing of the complaint and the referral of those multiple complaints, the original four complaints sa Justice Committee. And that initiated the impeachment proceedings. And so there is now a case of impeachment. The exception does not say in case of impeachment trial in the Senate. It says it's broader, it's more encompassing in cases of impeachment. Yung nagaganap po sa atin ngayon, ito po ay impeachment proceedings na validly initiated complaints because they were referred and acted upon by the Committee on Justice. For those reasons, Madam Chair, ang aking pong position, firm position, wala po tayong linalabag na batas dito, lalo na yung Bank Secrecy Deposit Law or Republic Act 1405, 36 years later ay meron ng amendment yung Anti-Money Laundering Act or the Republic Act number 9160. Maraming salamat po.
Madam Chair. May I
The Honorable Jokno,
Madam
and
Chair.
then the Honorable Marcoleta, and then the Honorable Ko.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Napakalinaw po ng Bank Secrecy Law. May exception po siya para sa impeachment. Pero tanungin natin, bakit ba? And I think the reason is very clear as well. We cannot use the Bank Secrecy Law as a shield to allow public officials to hide behind. Klarong-klaro po ang pinag-uusapan natin sa isang impeachment case ay pananagutan at kailangan maging transparent ang lahat ng mga public officials. Public office is a public trust. That's why it's very clear to me that this is not one of those cases where we cannot inquire into those deposits. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Honorable Marcoleta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to manifest to clarify for the record whether this committee may require submission of AMLC records without a court order. Under the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2001, suspicious transaction reports and covert transaction reports are confidential and may only be disclosed upon order of a court. Maliwanag po na wala pong clear statutory authority allowing disclosure of AMLC data to a congressional committee without judicial authorization, notwithstanding subpoena powers as guided by Sabio versus Gordon. For the record, I respectfully seek clarification of the committee regarding this matter. And if I may also cite, Madam Chair, the Anti-Money Laundering Act provides the state with a means to investigate suspicious financial transactions within a framework of judicial supervision. The Anti-Money Laundering Council is authorized to inquire into bank deposits even without the prohibition within the Bank Secrecy Law, provided that the court order is issued by the courts. At may tanong din po ako. I will just paraphrase it into a manifestation since I'm not allowed to raise questions. I take it to mean na pag suspicious yung transaction, ibig bang sabihin na ito ay illegal na or unlawful na? Para kasing ganun lumalabas. Pag ito ay tinag na suspicious, agad-agad itong pinipre-judge na as if it's an illegal or unlawful transaction. I want to be clarified on that, Madam Chair.
That is a manifestation which does not require any answer. The Honorable Ko is
May I ask, ma'am, why does it not require an answer?
Because you are not a member of the Justice Committee and
It
therefore,
was paraphrased, ma'am, into a manifestation.
and that is why answer is not required. It is just a manifestation. If I require an answer, then I'm allowing you already to raise a clarificatory question. As simple as that. The Honorable Ko is
My
recognized.
point is, madam, pag sinabi bang suspicious account o suspicious transaction, ito ay nangangulugan na ito ay agad unlawful or illegal.
That is your manifestation. We end there. Honorable Ko is recognized.
And the Filipino people heard my manifestation.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to also manifest my agreement to the discussions on the applicability of the proceedings here and the authority of the House Committee on Justice to subpoena existing government records supposedly in possession of the Anti-Money Laundering Council in aid of the investigation for probable cause being done validly by the House Committee on Justice. Now, I'd also like to second the manifestation that the exception as provided in the bank secrecy law, while the position of the committee and the chair ay hindi naman applicable kasi ang nandoon at ang covered nun ay bank employees, nonetheless, there is a textual exception doon says, quote-unquote, in cases of impeachment. And may standing question kasi na dapat mag-apply lang tong exception na to sa Senate kasi yun na yung quote-unquote case of impeachment. Pero the 1987 Constitution is clear. Under Section 3, Article 11, the House of Representatives shall have the exclusive power to initiate all cases of impeachment. So what we're doing now is under the coverage of cases of impeachment. So clear naman po yung pagka-fit ng words ng 1987 Constitution and the bank secrecy law. And siguro, Madam Chair, I'd also just like to raise a general comment for the benefit of the public and not specifically to answer any specific comment by members, but also para ma-enlighten yung public. Yung nakalagay po sa Section 11 na quote-unquote bank inquiry power requiring a court order, hindi naman po nakalimit doon yung kakayahan ng AMLC to produce documents. Lalo na if the AMLC reports or information is already in possession of AMLC prior to the starting of the impeachment proceedings, as confirmed by AMLC earlier, any reports of transactions, hawak na nila. And under the valid processes of this government agency, kinakausap yung kapwa government agency na i-produce yung information na hawak nila, rumirespondi po sila accordingly. May lawful authority po ang government agency na ito na gawin yon, i-ask yon from a different government agency. So yun po, fully covered yung lahat pong ginagawa ng House Committee on Justice on these impeachment proceedings. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Now, can we proceed to the report of AMLC?
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Adjong is recognized.
Madam Chair, if Congressman Joboy Aquino is done with his questioning, I'd like to ask AMLC.
Honorable Joboy Aquino, are you done with your clarificatory questions?
Finally, I'm done.
Yes,
Madam
so
Chair.
we can now proceed to Honorable Adjong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Magandang hapon na po. Magandang hapon po sa atin lahat. I'd like to direct my questions to AMLAC. Brad, magandang hapon.